Creating your first budget step by step. Hello, and welcome back to Read to Build, the place where we can turn money confusion into money confidence. Today, we are talking about something almost every person has tried at least once in their life, and almost every person has failed at least once too. We are talking about budgeting. Yes, the word itself can feel heavy. It can feel like a diet plan for your wallet, full of rules and restrictions and guilt. But here is the truth we want you to carry with you today. Most budgets do not fail because people are lazy or bad with money. Most budgets fail because they are built wrong from the start. They are too strict and complicated or too disconnected from real life. So, in this episode, we are going to rebuild the idea of budgeting from the ground up. Whether you are a student with your first pocket money, a young professional with your first salary, or a parent managing a whole household, this episode is for you. Sit back, relax, and let us walk through 10 simple, connected steps to create your first budget. A budget you can actually live with and stick to. Point number one, understand why budgets actually fail. Before we build anything new, we need to understand why the old approaches break down so often. Most people treat a budget like a punishment. They wake up one day, feel guilty about spending, and create a plan that cuts out every small joy in life. No coffee, no movies, no eating out, nothing. This works for maybe 2 weeks, and then the person feels tired, deprived, and frustrated. So they quit completely and go back to spending with no plan at all. Think of it like a crash diet. If you eat almost nothing for a week, your body eventually pushes back hard and you end up eating even more than before. Money works in a very similar way. When you starve your lifestyle completely, your mind rebels against the plan. The real reason budgets fail is not lack of discipline, it is lack of balance. A good budget should feel like a kite, not a cage. It should flex with your life, not fight against it. Once you accept this idea, everything else about budgeting becomes easier because you stop looking for a perfect set plan and start looking for a realistic, liable one. This mindset shift is the true first step even before we touch a single number. Next point number two, know your real income first. Every budget, no matter how simple or advanced, starts with one basic question: how much money actually comes into your hands? This sounds obvious, but many people guess this number instead of knowing it clearly. If you have a fixed salary, this step is simple. Just note your take home pay after tax. But if you are freelancer, a small business owner, or someone with mixed income, you need to look at the last 3 to 6 months and find your average monthly income, not your best month. Let us take an example. Imagine a freelance graphic designer named Maria. Some months she earns $800. Some months she earns $1,400. If she plans a budget based on her best month, she will overspend in a lower month and face stress. Instead, she looks at her last 6 months, adds a total, and divides by 6 to get a realistic average. This average becomes her true working income. This step matters because a budget built on imaginary income is like building a house on sand. The moment reality does not match the fantasy number, the whole plan collapses. So before anything else, get honest and clear about the real money following into your life. Next point number three, track where your money is currently going. Once you know what comes in, the next step is to understand what goes out. Is this where most people get a real shock? You cannot fix a leak if you do not know whether it is. For at least 2 to 4 weeks, simply track every expenses, no matter how small. This is not about judging yourself, it is about collecting honest data. You can use a notebook, a simple notes app, or a spreadsheet, whatever feel easy for you to maintain daily. Let us take an example. Imagine a young office worker named Daniel who believes that he barely spends on food outside home. When he tracks his expenses for 1 month, he discovers he spent almost $180 on small coffee runs and snacks he barely even remembers buying. This single discovery changes how he sees his spending pattern completely. The goal of this step is awareness, not restriction. You are simply becoming the detective of your own financial life. Many people find that just the act of tracking naturally reduces careless spending because when you know you have to write it down, you think twice before buying something impulsive. This tracking step gives you real personal data instead of guesses, and that Data becomes the foundation for every decision you make. Next point number 4, separate needs from wants honestly. Now that you have income and spending data, the next step is sorting your expenses into honest categories, needs and wants. Needs are the things required for basic living and functioning, like rent, groceries, electricity, transport to work, and the minimum debt payments. Wants are things that improve comfort or enjoyment but are not essential for survival, like dining out, subscription services, new gadgets, or fashion shopping. The tricky part here is honesty. Many people label wants as needs to avoid feeling guilty. For example, a fast internet plan for basic work is a need, but the most premium streaming bundle with every add on is often a want. Let's look at an example. A college student named Priya labels her monthly food delivery habit as a need because she says she is too buys to cook. But when she looks closely, she realizes cooking simple meals is possible and food delivery is actually a want dressed up as need. This honest separation does not mean wants are bad. It simply means you clearly see what is essential and what is flexible. This clarity becomes extremely powerful later because when life gets tight, you know exactly which expenses can be adjusted without threatening your basic stability and safety. Next point number 5, choose a budgeting method that fits your life. There is no single perfect budgeting method for every person, and this is actually good news because it means you can choose one that fits your personality and lifestyle. One popular and simple method is the 50-30 rule, where 50% of income goes to needs, 30% goes to wants, and 20% goes to savings and debt repayment. Another method is called zero based budgeting, where every single dollar of income is assigned a specific thought. So income minus all planned expenses equals zero. Let us take an example. Akmat, a new employee, prefers the 50-30-20 rule because it is simple and flexible, giving him freedom within each category. Meanwhile, his colleague Sarah prefers zero based budgeting because she likes full control and wants to know exactly where every dollar is planned to go. Neither person is right or wrong. They simply choose a system matching their personality. The important lesson here is that the best budgeting method is the one you will actually continue using, not the one that looks most impressive on paper. Try one method for a month. See how it feels in daily life and adjust if needed. This flexibility in choosing your system is part of what makes a budget sustainable long term. Next point number 6, build in space for small joys. Remember what we discussed at the very beginning, that overly strict budgets often fail because they remove all joy from spending. This is why a small budget always includes a small guilt-free spending category for personal enjoyment. This could be called fun money, personal allowance, or treat budget, whatever name motivates you. The key idea is that this amount is planned and limited, so you enjoy it without guilt and it does not damage your bigger financial goals. Let us take an example. Consider a father named James who loves buying vinyl records occasionally. Instead of banning this hobby completely, he plans $30 every month specifically for this toy. Because it is planned, he enjoys his purchase completely without any guilt or financial stress afterward. This small planned joy actually protects his overall budget because he does not feel deprived enough to break his plan completely in frustration. Think of this category as a pressure release valve for your financial system. Without it, pressure builds up until the entire structure breaks. With it, your budget breathes naturally alongside your real human life. The single addition is often what separates a budget that lasts for years from one that quietly disappears after only a few weeks. Next point number 7, set clear, realistic savings goals. A budget without a clear purpose often feels pointless, like walking without knowing your destination. This is why setting clear savings goals gives your entire budget meaning and motivation. These goals can be short term, like saving for a phone or a small trip, medium term, like an emergency fund, or long term, like a retirement or a home purchase. The key word here is realistic. Setting a goal to save half your income immediately usually leads to failure and disappointment. Let us take an example. Consider a young couple, I am and so, who want to build an emergency fund instead of setting an overwhelming goal to save $5,000 in 3 months. They set a realistic target of saving $200 every month for 25 months. This smaller steady target feels achievable, and achievable goals keep motivation alive. Each time they hit a monthly target, they feel a small sense of victory, which fuels their motivation for the next month. Realistic goals turn budgeting from a boring task into a meaningful journey with visible progress. When your brain sees consistent small wins, it naturally wants to continue the habit. And this emotional reward system becomes just as important as the actual math behind your budget. Next, point number 8, prepare for irregular and unexpected expenses. One major reason budgets collapse mid year is the appearance of unexpected costs that were never planned for. Car repairs, medical bills, sudden travel needs, or annual insurance payments can completely destroy an unprepared budget in a single month. The solution is to build a buffer specifically for irregular expenses, sometimes called sinking fund. Instead of reacting in panic when this cost appear, you prepare calmly in advance. Let us take an example. Consider a small business owner named Pai who forgot last year that his annual software subscription renews every December, causing a painful surprise expense. This year, he lists all irregular yearly expenses, divides the total by 12, and set aside that small amount every single month into separate fund. When December arrives, the money is already waiting and there is no panic for emergency borrowing needed. This simple shift from reaction to preparation transforms the financial stress into financial calm. Irregular expenses are not truly unexpected. They are simply expenses with unpredictable timing. Once you accept this, you can plan around them just like any other bill. This step protects your entire budget system from being knocked over by predictable surprises that arrive at unpredictable moments throughout this year. Next, point number 9, review and adjust your budget regularly. A budget is not a stone tablet carved once and followed forever. It is a living document that should grow and change alongside your life. Income changes, expenses changes, priorities changes, and your budget must be reviewed regularly to stay useful and accurate. Many financial experts recommend a short weekly check-in, a deeper monthly review to compare planned numbers against actual numbers. Let us take an example. Consider a nurse named Fatima who received a small pay rise this year. Instead of letting that extra money disappear into random spending, she reviews her budget monthly, notices the increased income, and consciously decides to increase her savings percentage rather than simply increasing her lifestyle spending. This is a regular review habit keeps her budget aligned with her actual life instead of an outdated version from months ago. Without review, even a well-built budget slowly becomes irrelevant and disconnected from reality. Think of this step like checking a map regularly during a long road trip. Even the best planned route sometimes needs small corrections along the way. This ongoing habit of reviewing and adjusting is often the quite difference between people who budget successfully for years and people who abandon their plan after just a few months. Next, point number 10, be patient and kind with yourself. Our final point may be the most important one of this entire episode because it connects directly back to where we started. Budgeting is a skill, and like any skill, it takes practice, mistakes, and patience to master properly. You will overspend some months, you will forget to log certain expenses sometimes, you will occasionally break your own plan, and this is completely normal and human, not a sign of failure. Let us take an example. Consider a retired teacher named Robert who, after 30 years of lost spending habits, tried budgeting for the first time. His first 3 months were messy and imperfect, with several mistakes along the way. Instead of quitting in frustration, he simply adjusted his plan slightly and continued forward with patience. By month 6, his budgeting habit felt natural and comfortable, almost like a second nature. The goal of budgeting is never perfection. The goal is consistent patient progress over time. Every single point we discussed today connects back to this core idea, building a system that represents your real human life rather than fighting against it constantly. When you treat yourself with patience instead of harsh judgment, budgeting stops feeling like punishment and slowly becomes simply a normal, comfortable part of your everyday life. At last, finally, and there we have it, 10 simple connected steps to build your very first budget, a budget designed to actually survive contact with real life. We started by understanding why budgets usually fail, then moved through knowing your income, tracking your spending, separating needs from wants, choosing the right method, protecting small joys, setting realistic goals, preparing for surprises, reviewing regularly, and finally being patient with yourself throughout the entire process. Notice how each step naturally led into next one. just like building blocks stacking together into something strong and stable. Remember, a budget is not about restriction, it is about direction. It is not about controlling every single dollar with fear. It is about giving your money a clear purpose that matches your real life and your real goals. Start small, start honest, and give yourself permission to adjust as you go along this journey. If this episode helped bring some clarity to your money story today, share it with someone who might need this simple, calm guidance too. Thank you for spending this time with us today on Read to Build. Keep learning, keep building. We will see you in the next episode.